Welcome to the Smart Credit for Young Adults show. Hey, my teens, if you're the ages between 18 and 25, say 12th grade, finishing high school, and first year in college, this program is for you. So buckle up, put on your seatbelt, and put on your thinking cap. We're ready to launch right now. But remember something, this program is not a legal advice show. Just so you know, I'm an educator, not a lawyer, okay? So if you need some counseling, professional counseling, please contact your local counsel in the area, okay? And again, welcome and thank you for watching. This is Credit 711, all right? Our goal today is to tackle some critical subject. Remember, this program is all about credit literacy, credit education. So we are just trying to keep you in the know, okay? So before we finish this program, you will understand how to read a credit report, what's in it. Credit inquiry, you're going to understand from this episode. What is a credit report? Credit score versus credit report, you will understand from the show. How to get your free credit report. What is the difference between credit report and credit score? Again, then after the break, there will be a little short break. We will jump into understanding credit and understanding how credit scoring works. How to read your credit report. Your credit report, of course, what is it? Your credit report is combined with historic information, all about your information and document and credit reporting. It's all combined in this national credit reporting agencies that we all know called TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Remember that. That's TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. So those are the three agencies. We call them the big data collection folks. Big data, who collect all your information and store them for the benefit of lenders and future landlords and even employers as well. Tap into credit bureaus these days to just see what kind of character person are you. So it's very important that you maintain a very good credit, by the way. You might also want to check your credit regularly, which I mentioned from earlier episode, by going into annualcreditreport.com. You're entitled to 3 bureaus, by the way, the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You can either pull one at a time, watch what's in it, find out how to fix the problem if there's any errors, and you pull the next one after maybe another 3 months. So you can do one at a time. You're entitled to 3 bureaus for free, by the way. So try not to pull all 3 right away, because when you do, you're done for the 12 months. If you have to pull it again, you may have to pay, okay? You can also pull your score there as well, okay? Your credit report simply just covered your current balance, your credit limit, your credit payment history. It also covers your accounts, collections. It covers what's reported as public information, we call those. And that is if you have issues with liens, foreclosure, bankruptcy, and any lawsuit or judgment against you, okay? How do I read my credit report? Well, again, federal laws tells you to go to this website that I mentioned to you, which is the annualcreditreport.com. I'm going to bang that on your head as much as I can so you understand that this is a free report you can pull to see what's going on in your credit report. It doesn't cost you anything and it would not affect your score. So please take advantage of this. All right? So let's see, what's in your credit, by the way? When you pull your credit report, you're going to see what we call personal information is going to be on there. You're going to see report summary. You're going to see account name. In other words, who are your trade lines? American Express, MasterCard. What is your credit limit is going to be on there. The account status. Is it current, past due, or behind? Whatever it is, you're going to see the status. Past due, who the credit bureau is going to show on there as well. Open date, in other words, when was the account open and when was it closed. Monthly payment, and you're going to see another important date that you must keep in mind, which is crucial and very important. It's called the last day of activity or last reporting date. You're going to see some credit bureaus showing LRD, and that's Larry, Robert, David. That's last reporting date. Or you will see LDA, that's Larry, David, Apple. That means last date of activity. And why am I stressing this point? It's because everything you try to do when it comes to disputing or trying to get something off your report, it is very, very crucial that you find out when was the last activity done on your report. That date is what you're going to start counting from to know that after 7 years or 10 years, you can actually demand that the credit bureau remove something from your reports. So once they stop doing any activity, that means that account is nobody is monitoring it, so it must come off, okay? Account balances and account history and account status, all of this personal information are all going to be on your credit report. So just remember that it's very important that you make sure the information is most importantly correct. So if you see any error or information on your report, you want to take care of it immediately, because there are a lot of errors in reports that has someone else's account showing up in your report. And if you don't do something quickly, it can affect your credit report. So it's very, very important that you get into the habit of pulling your report once a year, okay? Public record, I hope for your sake, I keep saying this, you don't have any bankruptcy or lien or foreclosure or judgment yet, because you're just starting out to build trade lines or accounts. You're gonna see the other word that we call accounts or trade lines, which I just mentioned. A trade line is simply who are the creditors that you owe this amount to. The account status, such as open account, negative account, and closed account. So when an account is open, it means it's active. When an account is past due, it shows as a negative stuff on you. When the account is closed, it just means you either close the account yourself or the guarantor close it as a charge off, or you just simply paid everything off and demand to close the account. And when an account is closed, it just means there's no activity going on, okay? So the only thing you have to worry about are the open accounts to make sure you keep them in good standing. For example, if accounts such as line of credit, installment loans, balance information, high balance, in other words, what's the maximum amount was awarded to you, revolving credit, credit limit, installment account, all these are creditors and folks that are going to be showing on your account, okay? There's also what we call payment history that's going to show the number of days that you're past due, and oftentimes you're going to see 30 days past due, 60 days past due, 90 days past due, and 120 days past due. When you're over 120 days past due, that is not looking good. You're pretty much heading for what we call defaulting on this account, okay? We're also going to see some legitimate businesses that are showing in your report, which are called soft inquiry and hard inquiry. And I think I mentioned that when we were covering credit terms. Hard inquiry is when someone pulls your credit report to extend credit to you. Soft inquiry is either your credit agency, your Visa card is pulling credit to see if they can offer you extra credit, or you pull your credit yourself. Those are all soft. They're not supposed to affect you by much. The hard inquiry does affect you when someone is pulling your credit report. Say if you're trying to apply for a loan for a car or for a credit card, okay? So check your credit score as often as you can to make sure there's nothing there that doesn't belong there, okay? All right, what type of credit report and the credit score versus credit report? How to get a free report, we're gonna cover. The differences in credit reports. What is a credit report, by the way? A credit report, again, as I mentioned, is just a comprehensive history of your financial life. How about that? A credit score versus credit report. A credit score just shows 3 digits of numbers from each bureau showing your credit worthiness. It's a ranking device. In other words, the scores varies from each bureau by bureau, okay? So review your credit to make sure. How do you get your credit report again? As I mentioned, is simply go to annualcreditreport.com, and that's where you can access your free report. If you want your score, you will have to pay a small fee for you to obtain that. Or again, myfico.com will give you a score. Whether you decide to do a credit report or Experian or TransUnion, they all actually show a different report numbers. I don't know how many times I've had folks ask me, why are the different credit agencies have different scores? That's because they all look at different reporting for each bureau. Each bureau uses different mechanism to come up with a count for you. A lot of time they look at demographic, the zip code, the income, the area. All of this come into their factor in as to what kind of score they will give you. So just remember that. Now, after a short, quick break, we're going to tackle also with what to understand in credit score and what is it, how does credit score works, okay? A credit bureau score, we're going to talk about Fair Isaac credit score. We're going to talk about what does a credit score means to me and to the lenders and employers and insurance company, how it's calculated and how it is formulated, and the scores as well. How can a borrower increase their scores? What does it take, and why are the credit bureau scores varies from bureau to bureau, okay? We're going to talk about something called shotgunning. I know it sounds like, shotgunning. It's not a new language in town. It's pronounced SHOT-GUNNING, shotgunning. What that is, it just simply means that if several employers or creditors, for example, you want to buy a car. You stop at dealership A, they pull your credit. You go to dealership B, they pull your credit. And dealership C, pull your credit. All of them are pulling your credit that very week because you're shopping around for a car, okay? All of that pulling of your credit is supposed to affect your score by bringing it down. And what this shotgunning has done is to protect you, by the way. So if you had gone for the whole month shopping for a car, or you're shopping for a mortgage rate, you've been to 3 or 4 different lenders trying to find out who's got the best rate, all of this shopping around within this 1 month, calendar month, 30 day, will only count for one inquiry. So that is not too bad. So instead of having them showing like you're pulling all this credit score to bring your score down, they will just recalculate it for that 1 month and only count it as one inquiry, which is pretty good on our part. So it's just a protection because a lot of folks don't know that this is what it will do to your credit. It will affect your credit by having everybody pulling your credits, okay? So just keep those thoughts in mind. So what is a credit bureau score, by the way? Credit bureau scoring, again, is just a statistical means of how likely you are to be able to pay back a loan. Simple as that. A credit bureau score is based on several information or data they've collected from borrowers, either from your credit report, from your insurance agencies, from paying your mortgage, from renting an apartment, from buying heavy equipment. All of the stuff are looked into, and lenders are able to do what we call a scorecard to give you credit and to give you a rank and a number or wild card. The Fair-Isaac Score Bureau's score ranges between approximately 300 to 850. So each credit bureau score starts at 300 to 850 is the maximum you can get. So if you are pulling your credit report, some of the things that you would be able to look into in terms of where you stand in terms of score are the scores. Simple as that, okay? The scoring for ranking order means, or for potential borrower, from borrower to borrower, it varies from studies that they've done in the past. They have always measured the fact that people who have scored 695 and less would likely to default. Folks who have 620 score would likely to default on their loan, as opposed to folks who score higher are likely not to default on their credit on a loan. And this scoring research that has been done has been looked into all this complex data and math and method to come up with a pattern of how consumers are formulating their credit score, okay? So again, as I mentioned to you, each bureau uses a formulation to come up with your scores, okay? Age of the credit is counted. The number of trade line you have, how many accounts you have open. The number of inquiries you have on your account also comes up to do of how they formulate your credit as well. Payment history, public record, all of these comes up to how they come up with your formulating your account. The number of balances you owe, the average balances that you have, the relationship between the lenders. Is it a revolving account, which is a fixed account every month, or is it a credit card? What kind of trade line? Is it a bank card or travel or entertainment card, or is it a department card? Is it a personal finance loan? All of these factors formulate what we call a credit score, okay? There's also another report out there for folks who pay their mortgage, by the way. It's just a mortgage report that shows all those who have homes, how well they pay their mortgage is on that report. So you guys don't have to worry about that. How can a borrower increase their score? I've heard this question all the time. It just simply means pay your bills on time, okay? I cannot stress that enough. I'm sure you probably go, yeah, right, okay? You have to have the money to pay it on time, right? Okay. Now, also another thing that you have to remember, if you see any errors on your account, you want to try to take care of it as soon as possible. Removing error out of your report can help you tremendously to increase your score, by the way. Okay, so quickly try to take care of any errors, okay? Now, some of these studies that has shown in the past that they've studied is to watch people who have serious good credit versus people who are in trouble. One of the surveys, they surveyed 600 people, by the way, out of 10, 1 out of 10 with 700 to 719 score would likely to default. Can you believe that? Folks who score 800 and above, out of 1,392 people that they surveyed, 1 is likely to default on their loan. What does all this mean? Why they were able to evaluate these scores? In other words, it's simple. The higher your score, the likelihood that you will pay your bill on time and you will not default on your loan. So when banks extend credit to you, they look at the higher your score, the less risky you are. Let's just put it that way. But if you have a score 620 and below, you're likely to be in trouble with paying your bills on time, okay? All right, so again, just remember all these factors when you are pulling your credit report or when you're shopping around. Just make sure that you don't have to worry about when you go rate shopping, okay? Another factors I've had folks ask me is like, hey, if I open a credit report 6 months ago, will I score well? Well, your report doesn't start showing some serious scoring till after 6 months of your account. So in other words, it takes a long time for your report to be affected with some good scoring. In other words, your account has to age. Your account has to season. We use the word season, mean it has to be there for like a couple of years, not just 6 months. You say, oh, I got good credit, I've been paying my credit for 6 months on time. You have to have been there for a while for you to develop what we call credit-worthy trust and risk-worthy, okay? So remember to keep those thoughts in mind, okay? The Fair Isaac Credit Bureau scoring, if you do want to call for dispute, I've had folks have asked me if I can provide this information. Just call 1-800-777-2066. If you're trying to dispute something on the phone, you can start with a phone call, okay? Simple, say, hey, I pulled my report today. The report number is blah, blah, blah. This is my name and this is my shoulder. They will ask you to verify some information. And you say, well, there's something showing on my report that doesn't belong there. It's not me. And they'll tell you, okay, they'll ask you several questions and even send you a form via email for you to complete and mail it out. And if you have evidence or proof of that payment, that you didn't make that payment, you have a good credit with your creditor, you just have to send that in and they will remove that information. This is how you can clean your information yourself. Keep in mind, you can actually dispute your own information without paying $300+ to credit counselors who can do it for you. Unless if you don't feel comfortable doing it by yourself, then you can hire someone to do it for you. But just remember one thing as well. Once your credit has been cleaned up or reviewed or the dispute has been resolved, it doesn't mean that your credit score will just jump up right away. It doesn't work that way. It just means the information has been taken off. Your report looks much cleaner. I always say my reports when I was pulling credit reports in my mortgage shop was I rate them with vanilla, German chocolate, and fudge. So if you dispute something in your credit report and it's removed, you're now moving from a fudge state or German chocolate shade to vanilla. So your report will look more vanilla than worrying about how much score you got. At least it will look much cleaner. So it's always important that you dispute your credit, okay? Hey, if you need more information, I always tell folks, don't forget to visit consumerfinance.gov or mymoney.gov. You can always check out what we call Credit Karma I believe those are the folks that monitor your credit scores and credit report. You can also visit fico.gov or ftc.gov. You can also read a lot of information on annualcreditreport.com, where you get your free report, okay? And to get this copy of this handbook from me today, you just simply email me helpful@lady@gmail.com or helpful@lady@yahoo. Education is the most powerful tool that you can use to change the world, Nelson Mandela will say. So just remember, lifelong learning is an ongoing active process. We learn by doing. So knowing that you learn by doing and stick to your mind, Dale Carnegie will say, okay? Education is powerful. Again, I thank you for watching. I wish you well and drive responsibly. I'm your host, Agnes Genova.